We have liftoff as Juan Soto powers up against the Dodgers, but was it enough to send Shohei and LA to their third straight loss? This is MLB Game Night.
When that final out is made, you know it's time for Locked On MLB Game Night. All the post-game reactions to every game across the league, every single night, with insights only the hosts at Locked On can provide. Prepare to experience game day reactions like never before. Only on Locked On MLB Game Night. Your team every day.
Welcome in once again to MLB Game Night. Every game, every night. J.D. Hafron of Locked On Cardinals, along with my brother from another mother, Jon Frisch from Locked On Angels. Lots to talk about today. Full slate of action in Major League Baseball. Bryce Harper back in action for the Phillies. PCA making history for the Cubs. Brewers going for their 9th win in a row. Today's show being brought to you by Monarch Money. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use the code LOCKEDONMLB at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. We're going to start in LA, but not with your LA, John. We're going to start with the Dodgers and Mets. Two of the top teams in baseball continue their clash in Los Angeles. Mets won on Monday night in extra innings. How would the Dodgers respond? We got Vince from Locked On Dodgers to tell us how this one was almost a repeat of Monday night.
What a difference 24 hours can make, because it felt like the same ending, but this time the Dodgers got the good side of it. This is Vince from Locked On Dodgers, and it was a weird and wild and ultimately fun game because the Dodgers won. Freddie Freeman with the walk-off with the little aid from Brandon Nimmo, who I had no idea what he was doing out there in left field, but it worked out for the Dodgers. Clayton Kershaw's struggles continue, can't put guys away. That might just be who he is now. Tanner Scott redemption comes in, same situation, extra innings, runner on second, 2 strikeouts. Juan Soto, Pete Alonso gets the third out, and all is well in that world. And Max Muncy's the big story here, because this is what we talked about. You'll take the offense with the maybe not so great defense. Ultimately, it worked out in this one. His offense put the Dodgers ahead and tied in the later innings, even though his defense maybe gave up some runs. But we're going to talk about it all on Locked On Dodgers, where we get podcasts and on YouTube.
Yeah, he mentions that Max Muncy, dude, has been on fire. 2 more home runs in this one. Ties the game in the 9th inning with the solo shot. You and I are watching this game, John. We're texting, and I'm like, friggin' Dodgers. Go to extra innings. And you're like, you could see that one coming a mile away because they didn't have the gas, and you could just tell that Muncy was fired up and ready to go. Hitting 406 with 6 bombs and 14 ribbies in his last 22 at-bats. I mean, just crazy stuff. Shohei, not really a part of the action tonight. 0 for 3, 2 walks, 2 Ks. Juan Soto did hit a home run. Did that in, I believe, the 3rd inning of this one, his 11th home run of the year. Actually pulled the Mets within 1 with that one. But the Dodgers were out there early on this one. But I'll be honest, even though, I don't live in New York or LA, it's a lot of fun watching these two teams play each other just because it feels like a playoff game every time.
Yeah, especially when you know that they're going to meet in the playoffs down the road eventually. And given how much money both teams have spent for their rosters, it's a big matchup, right? Who knew that Max Muncy just needed some glasses? Who cares if he looks like a nerd out there?
Yeah,
my bad. I'm poking a little fun at myself.
Very much Major League like when Wild Thing Rick Vaughn gets the glasses and everything becomes clear and he becomes good again. Yeah, Muncy, that funky Muncy is just crushing it right now. So fantasy people, if he's available, go get him immediately. Yeah. All right, moving on to the Phillies at the Blue Jays. Phillies were the victims of the Red Hot Brewers over the weekend. If you remember, they really got swept, while the Blue Jays found their offense against the A's as they swept for a game set. We've got Mark of the Locked On Phillies postcast with us to tell us how things went down, and he shares what we're going to call a no-duh moment.
Of course he did. And they don't call him the showman for nothing. Of course, Bryce Harper comes back in his first game in a week. First game since being hit by Spencer Strider in his reconstructed elbow. And of course, he hits a home run on the third pitch he sees despite no batting practice. He's able to go out there and tattoo a splitter away 394 feet away from home plate. That actually gave the Phillies a 3-0 lead. Of course he did it. He's the showman. Also, Trey Turner gets 2 home runs in the game against the Toronto Blue Jays as the Phillies snap a 4-game losing streak. And Christopher Sanchez struggled mightily in the 5th inning, but kept it together, pitched another inning for the Phils, got through 6 innings of 1-run baseball as he improves to 5-1 on the season. Phillies look to take this series with the Toronto Blue Jays, with Mick Abel making his second big league start Wednesday night.
Yeah, Mick Abel, obviously a name to watch. The big story on this one, though, John, obviously the return of Bryce Harper to the Philadelphia Phillies lineup. He's just such a difference maker for that particular team. Honestly, if you took anybody else out of that lineup, I feel like they'd be okay. But when Bryce is gone, it's just a totally different lineup.
Yeah, it changes the whole complexion of the lineup, who he's, got in front of him and behind him, and how it affects their at-bats as well. And, give it up for him for making the move over to first base a couple of years ago, realizing it's what I got to do for my career. This is what I got to do to stay healthy and on the field. And he's productive. And to be honest with you, I know that they kind of go hand in hand, but I think I'd love to see Mike Trout over at first base at some point. If Harper can do it, why not get Trout over there to keep him on the field, keep him healthy? But you're right. The Phillies, I know they hit that, 4-game skid. It was against a red hot Brewers team. They weren't losing to anybody over the weekend in their 8-game win streak. So the Phillies were victims of that, but they're right back where they were before that, taking this one from the Blue Jays 8-3. And the Blue Jays, 3 runs, but at the same time, you thought they found their offense versus the A's, and they certainly piled on the A's, but that might be virtue of that Sacramento AAA stadium where the ball just flies around the yard, especially for anyone not named A's, because any opposing team who comes to Sacramento is just putting up a ton of runs against that team.
He also mentioned Trey Turner, who's also been on quite a tear recently. He mentioned the 2 home runs tonight, hit 323 over his last 15 games. So Trey Turner, obviously a big piece of that puzzle for the Philadelphia Phillies. Coming up, Pete Crow Armstrong. Everybody's gotten to know this man's name so far this year. He continues to put up MVP numbers. Actually made a little bit of history tonight. We'll talk about that and more coming up on MLB Game Night. Ever check your bank account and wonder, where did all my money go? Between dining out, online shopping, and entertainment, it's really easy to lose track. I recently bought something for the chair that I sit in every day, a little back supporter thing, and I'm like, oh, I could buy this. And you start losing track of how much money you're actually putting out there just to get things delivered to you, and that's where Monarch Money comes into play. Your personal CFO, giving you full visibility and control over your finances. And Monarch Money is not just a budgeting app. It's a complete financial command center. You'll be able to track all your accounts, your investments, and all your spending. You can do it in one place, so you stop managing your money and you actually start building wealth. And I know it's convenient and easy, and you may not realize how much money you're actually spending on. This is the big one for me: food delivery. There's times when you just don't want to get in your car. You don't want to go anywhere. You're just like, I don't care what the fee is. Bring it in to me. Now you can budget smarter and save more with Monarch Money. And instead of juggling the multiple apps, you just use Monarch Money to check your finances, track the spending, and even plan long-term goals. And it even makes things with your spouse or your partner, it makes things go even smoother because you can do stuff together. Track shared and personal accounts, set goals, stay on that same page without the stress. So take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONMLB at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com, code LOCKEDONMLB for half off your first year. Cubs at the Washington Nationals. Cubs and Nationals meeting in D.C. to start this 3-game set. Cubs come into this one having won their last 5 series, while the Nationals, they were road warriors recently over their last 6, going 4-2 on the road, taking a series from the Mariners and the Diamondbacks. So let's go ahead and check in with one of our favorites, Sam Ulber from Locked On Cubs, on how his team looked today in D.C.
Don't let Michael Busch get hot. Don't let Michael Busch get hot. Big day, single, triple, homer for Michael Busch. Back-to-back days, leads the Cubs past the Washington Nationals. I'm Sam Olber from the Locked On Cubs podcast, and Michael Busch being hot at the right time with Kyle Tucker out was huge. It was a really good day for Pete. Nico Horner had the biggest hit of the game, I thought, breaking it open. Cade Horton, he continues to impress me with his makeup. Just grinded through that outing. Thought he did a pretty nice job. I think he was a little bit unlucky. That ball that was hit to Michael Busch, I think, should have been ruled an error, which would have been 2 more unearned runs for Cade instead of an extra 2 earned. But I thought he battled. The bullpen shut it down. I thought Counsell managed that game really well against the all left-handed lineup against Washington. He got his lefties in right after Horton was done, and the Cubs just took care of business again and continue to play really solid, fun baseball to watch. And it was great to see the offense have back-to-back big games. Catch the show tonight. I'll be solo. We're going to talk about this game, a little bit of Craig Counsell, a little bit of Jed.
All right. Before we dig deeper into what's going on with the Cubs right now, let's hear from Ryan Clary of Locked On Nationals, who is apparently ready to pull the plug on a certain player.
And at what point do people start talking about Trevor Williams no longer being a starter? Let's be honest. This guy has not gone 5+ innings over his last couple of starts. Well, actually, his past start, he did finally. Earlier on in the season, though, has not done it up to this point. I'm Ryan Clary from Locked On Nationals, and the Nationals lose game 1 of this big series against the Chicago Cubs, 8-3. In tonight's ball game, again, Trevor Williams was the story. 2 of his last 3 starts, he has not been able to finish 5 innings in a game. You got Cade Cavalli ready. That's going to be a big storyline as we push forward. But yeah, the Nationals, they did have some opportunities here early on in the game. They had all their runs scored in the first couple of innings. And of course, everything kind of fell apart from there. But still good news. The Nats are 28-32. You got a game tomorrow. Mackenzie Gore in the bump.
Now let's track back to Pete Crow Armstrong, because I can't stop watching this dude, even though he's on the Cubs, which is my rival. I can't stop watching this guy. The steal that he had today, 20th of the season. He became the 4th fastest major leaguer in the modern era since 1900 to record 15 home runs and 20 stolen bases and do it in a season, reaching the mark in just 60 games. Very impressive stuff. Lots of talk from Cubs fans who are ready to stop platooning Michael Busch. And every time I hear his name, I think of Revenge of the Nerds. We got Busch. Well, they do, because Michael Busch is swinging a hot bat. What are your thoughts on that, John?
You know, obviously he's a lefty, hasn't hit lefties well in his career, a career 234 average against lefties, but a 644 OPS. I don't think you mess with success here, JD. You've got a good thing rolling right now. Don't make any sudden movements, right? Don't scare anything off. Don't, that sort of thing. And you got Justin Turner to fill in at first base. He's hitting 268 against lefties. So don't mess with the recipe until you have to. And right now, the Cubs are doing just fine platooning Michael Busch. And every time he's out there, he's doing something special like he did today. Just missed that double for the cycle. You got to, especially when you get the hardest part, the home run and the triple, that stinks when you can't get that double.
It does, but winning makes it all feel better. But I agree with you. Don't mess with success. And if this is working, why rock the boat? Eventually in a long season like this, there'll be injuries or something. And then that's when perhaps he could step up and, maybe get some regular at bats, at least more than he's getting now. But yeah, it's a team thing. And right now the Cubs are rolling. So just keep, if I'm them, just keep doing what you're doing. Moving on to NL Central battle, Brewers at the Reds. Brewers, 8 straight wins on Monday night with a win over the Cincinnati Reds. Christian Yelich was the hero in that one. Could they pull off 9 in a row on Tuesday? We got Jeff Carr from Locked On Reds on why a certain play could be the play of the year and might have just changed the fortunes for both teams.
TJ Friedl may have just given us the Reds play of the year. What's up? This is Jeff Carr from the Locked On Reds podcast. And if you're looking for a point where the Cincinnati Reds season could turn around, TJ Friedl delivered that on Tuesday night. A crazy game, back and forth, pitchers duel, timely hits, You had a great add-on home run from Will Benson, but it was the defense. An amazing catch by Matt McClain in the 8th inning, and then TJ Friedl, after just an insane missed called third strike that should have been the game. Then Caleb Durbin makes it to first base on an error by Elly De La Cruz where he sails the throw into the seats. They bring in a left-handed hitter, Jake Bowers, who has home run power. He hits this ball, and if TJ Friedl does not catch the ball, the game is tied at 4. But TJ Friedl, who has been hotter than the surface of the sun recently, he's hitting over 300. He's catching home runs now. He might just be leading this team back. The Reds have needed a spark, and I don't know a better way to get a spark.
Yeah, we talked earlier about how the Reds need somebody other than Elly De La Cruz to do something for this team, whether it be offensively, defensively, and TJ Friedl has answered the bell recently. We got Chuck from Locked On Brewers here to tell us why there won't be any free burgers in Wisconsin. What?
Rainy day in Wisconsin here today. Kind of typifies the mood as the Brewers' 8-game winning streak comes to an end. And no hamburgers for us here in the state of Wisconsin. Hey, everybody, Chuck Friedman, Instant Reaction, Locked On Brewers. Yeah, hamburger chain in southeastern Wisconsin. As we all know, George Webb offers the free hamburgers when you win 12 in a row. They've only done it once in their franchise history, 1987. They've come close a few times. They teased us, like this year. But a couple of bright spots tonight. Freddie Peralta goes into the 7th inning, although in a 2-2 game runs into trouble. And the go-ahead run eventually scores for the Reds, and then they tack on insurance in the 8th inning. Also, Christian Yelich, 2 more hits, a hard hit ball for an out in his last at-bat, but still seeing some great signs out of Yelly. Brewers will go for the series win against the Reds tomorrow. We'll preview that and talk about this one and a few other things as well on the next edition of Locked On Brewers. We'll be dropping that a little bit later on tonight. Please subscribe.
12 in a row for free burgers. These burgers better be awesome.
They better be great. I mean, the Angels, they used to get free Chick-fil-A for like a 7-run game. And anytime they win, we get free McDonald's fries. So, man, they better be good burgers.
Yeah, the Cardinals get like 10-cent refills or something if they score 6. But free burger, you got it 12 in a row? My gosh.
Come on.
Better be some kind of burger. Notice that Chuck also, like, when this team loses, he dresses down for it, but when they win, he's like golf polo shirt, like looking all pristine. Today, he looks like he just rolled out of bed. He just wasn't into it at all. Is this a turning point for both teams, John? What are your thoughts on what they were saying?
If the Reds have 4 more Hunter Greens, then yes, then it would be a turning point. But that's the thing. The Brewers ran into Hunter Green and the A's, the Reds A-team bullpen here. And this is, just a little bit of a blip because the Brewers, they've been getting the offense that they've needed, especially from guys like Christian Yelich. They swept the Phillies in Philadelphia. I don't think that we can state that louder. That should not be understated, to sweep the Phillies in Philadelphia. They're going to be just fine. I think that this is a good start for the Brewers to keep on having the season that they've been having over the last week. For the Reds, got to see more, JD, to be honest with you.
Yeah, prove that you can do it a couple of days in a row for Cincinnati. That's been their problem, is the inconsistency. Guardians at Yankees. Yankees return home to host Cleveland after coming off that 6-3 West Coast road trip. We've got Jay Bourbon of the Locked On Yankees postcast, who shares how while one Yankee heads to the IL, another one comes off the IL and shows up in a big way.
Return home in style. They beat the Guardians tonight 3-2. Yanks, fresh off their 6-3 West Coast swing, get a well-pitched effort from Carlos Rodon. He is now 8-3 with a 2.49 ERA. That, after 7 innings of 1-run ball, he struck out 8. As for the 9th inning, Devin Williams returns to the closer's role. That, because of Luke Weaver's hamstring injury, Williams allows a run in the 9th, but earns the save. Again, 3-2 the final score. As for the offense, back-to-back home runs in the 7th inning for Jazz Chisholm. Welcome back. And Anthony Volpe for the Yanks. That's the 5th time this season they've gone back-to-back. Again, 3-2 final score. Game 2 will be Wednesday, and Game 3 will be on Thursday.
That's a very big blow to that bullpen for the Yankees to lose Weaver like that, who's been so good for them. And now they got to roll the dice with Devin Williams, who, let's be honest, he's been terrible so far this year. So
Luke Weaver going down, and then that's one thing. But yeah, to go to Devin Williams, that's a whole other situation. That you're exactly.
A couple years ago, you're thinking, well, he's one of the best closers in baseball, and now he's just falling off a cliff, it seems like.
Yeah.
Let's move on to your Angels at the Red Sox. Angels made a little history at Fenway Park on Monday, if you remember, hitting those 3 home runs in the first inning, being the first visiting team to do so. Trout hit one that still hasn't landed yet. No one's proven it to me that it's landed. Meanwhile, the Red Sox just trying to find a way to close games. John, how did things go for your Angels in this one?
Yeah, another close game here, and the one that the Red Sox couldn't get done, and so it went to extra innings. Yusei Kikuchi didn't have his best stuff on the mound. Now, mind you, he is 1-5 this season, but he's got a 3.23 ERA. So that says more about the offense than it does about Yusei Kikuchi. Angels had the bases loaded with no outs in the top of the 10th. Only managed to get that ghost runner across. And I know you don't like the term ghost runner because you can see him out there. He's out there.
I see dead people on second base.
But they made it 4-3. And fortunately, Reed Detmers, who's actually been really great out of the bullpen, earned the save with 2 strikeouts and a pop-up. JD, he joined some pretty elite company. Detmers joins Nolan Ryan and Mike Witt as the only pitchers to throw a no-hitter and get a save in Angels franchise history.
Wow. Yeah, Nolan Ryan, obviously. Witt was solid, too. He didn't get the notoriety of Nolan Ryan, but he was a very good pitcher for a long time.
Dig him up. Let's bring him back to this rotation. We need them right now. He's not dead, is he? I just said dig him up.
I don't believe. I'm pretty sure he's not. His son had a field day in St. Louis today. We're going to get to that in a little while. But coming up next, though, the Tigers. They got the best record in baseball, right, John?
They do, yeah, and they can't be stopped right now. Who can tame the Tigers, JD?
Not so fast, my friend. They wouldn't lose to the White Sox, would they?
I don't know.
Would they?
I don't know.
We'll talk about it next on MLB Game Night. Get the supplies you need from the site made for the skilled trades, Supply House. Whether you're in plumbing, HVAC, or electrical work, Supply House is the reliable way to order products online. Their easy-to-use website, it's packed with helpful resources and the latest product information that's going to help you get the job done right, which is what we all want, correct? Plus, with a complete inventory of over 200,000 parts from 400 plus top brands, you're going to find exactly what you need, and they're also going to deliver it to you fast, coast to coast, wherever you are in the United States. They got you covered. And say you need help with an order. All right. Say something happens. You need help with an order. Supply House is going to offer you expert support and industry leading service. So you're always going to do what? Talk to a real person, no machines. And for trade pros looking for an extra edge, their free Trade Master program offers exclusive perks like a dedicated phone line. You're going to get free shipping plus discounts on every order. Thousands of skilled professionals are already taking advantage, and now it's your turn. Join the Trade Master program today at supplyhouse.com/TM. Start ordering plumbing, HVAC, and electrical supplies with just a few clicks. Plus, use promo code SH5. Get 5% off your first order. That's promo code SH5 for 5% off your first order at supplyhouse.com. The Detroit Tigers have been outstanding. The Chicago White Sox have not been so good. Better than last year. Give them a little credit. But Tigers were able to pile on the White Sox on Monday night with a 13-1 win. Would they do it again, or can the White Sox turn the tables? How about we go to Todd Welter of Locked On White Sox to find out what went down today.
A bounce back. The White Sox went from getting crushed on Monday night to handing out the beating tonight. You got Shane Smith and Michael A. Taylor to thank for that. Hello, I'm Todd Welter, host of Locked On White Sox, and the White Sox put an 8-1 whooping on the Detroit Tigers, the best team in baseball, by the way. Smith fits in perfectly with the bounce-back theme as he was brilliant after having his first terrible outing of the season in New York last week. He goes 5 1/3 innings of shutout ball, allowing just 3 hits and striking out 6, and he's gone from the top pick in the Rule 5 draft to likely being the White Sox All-Star representative, along with a top-of-the-rotation pitcher the team can move forward with. Taylor got the start in center as the team is briefly benching struggling former All-Star Luis Robert Jr. to work on the swing, and he provided enough offense to put the Tigers away with a 3-run blast in the 6th to extend the slim 1-0 lead, and the Sox continued to pile on runs in the 7th and 8th inning to give Smith some rare run support, and I'll have more on tomorrow's episode of Locked On White Sox.
And that's why they play the games, John.
Right.
We just don't know what's going to happen.
That's baseball, baby.
Yeah, it was the first home win for the White Sox against the Tigers since June 4th of 2023. They had lost a franchise record 11 straight home games against the Tigers. Every now and then the White Sox, they show us some flashes of kind of, turning the corner and being a better team. What do you think about what you're seeing from the White Sox right now? Every
now and then, you're right. They show us a little bit of flashes, like the starting pitching today showed us something that could be really good in the future. Miguel Vargas, who was having the worst year of his life going from the Dodgers to the White Sox last year, made a swing change back in April. That's been working for him. He's been hitting much better. I love Chase Mydroth. I got him on my fantasy team. He's going to be a perfect leadoff guy for years to come. And then Edgar Caro, who they stole from the Angels in the Lucas Giolito trade. He's the catcher of the future. So there's some good things that they can build around in the years to come, especially if they, sell off at the deadline and gather. I think the White Sox could be back before we know it.
Yeah, and coming off that horrible year last year, but at least there appears to be a path where you go and look at what the Rockies have, and you're like, I don't know what the hell they're doing. Right. I don't know how they're going to turn this thing around ever, where the White Sox have traded some big pieces, gotten some good prospects in return, and appear to be headed in the right direction. Speaking of those Rockies,
hold on a minute, JD.
Again. The Rockies picked up their 10th win of the season and moved to 10-50 on Monday night, and it came at the expense of the Marlins. Can they do it again? We got Jeremiah from Locked On Marlins to tell us what happened between the Marlins and the Rockies. They wouldn't lose to them twice in a row, would they?
Ladies and gentlemen, the Marlins became the first team this season to lose a series to the Rockies. It's Jeremiah Geiger from the Locked On Marlins podcast. I think the Marlins left their ability to hit on the West Coast because it sure as heck ain't at Lone Depot Park. Horrible series against the Giants offensively, horrible series against the Rockies. Nobody is clutch. They can't hit with runners in scoring position. And the manager, Clayton McCulla, pulls Sandy Alcantara in the start that he's doing well in. He was 70 pitches through 6 innings. He pulls him. In the 8th inning, the Rockies hit a solo home run, and they win the game 3-2. And then in the 9th inning, Dane Myers gets pinch hit for. Nick Fortes gets pinch hit for. Javier Sanoja gets pinch hit for. 3 ice-cold bats pinch hit in the bottom of the 9th, and the Marlins go down 1-2-3. They lose this game. McCullough has to do better. The Marlins have to do better, and you better hope you don't get swept by the worst team in the history of baseball. Or maybe it's the Marlins that are the worst team in baseball.
You know what's not the worst? That hat he's wearing right there. That is
a good hat.
Smooth from Jeremiah. Your thoughts on pulling out Contra after 70 pitches? What's going on there, John?
Man, Clayton McCulla just seems to overthink everything when it comes to this Marlins team. And Alcantara was cruising for the first time all year. 6 innings pitched, 4 hits, 2 earned runs, 1 walk, 4 Ks on 70 pitches, as Jeremiah mentioned. What are you doing? Let him go. This is the first time he's actually putting up a decent start for you, and you end up losing to the Rockies. That's on you, Clayton McCulla.
Yeah, especially when, he could use the benefit of some positivity for Alcantara. He's had a tough year so far. So, that very strange. Unless there was something else behind the scenes we don't know about. Very odd that we pull him there. Padres at the Giants. Padres beat the Giants 1-0 in extras on Monday night with a little sack fly action. Guess what? This one went to extras again because that's what West Coast teams do. This time tied 2-2 entering the 10th inning. And it was a 2-out single from Jake Cronenworth that scored Jackson Merrill from third base while the Giants bunted Christian Koss over to third. They stranded him with 2 groundouts to short to end it. Padres move to 35-24 and slowly making their way back to first behind the Dodgers. Looking over their shoulder, Dodgers. The Friars are coming for you, we think, kind of.
They're trying. They're almost there. They're
Twins and the A's. Twins stomped on the A's on Monday night, 10-4 win, despite starter Joe Ryan not being the sharpest. They met once again in Sacramento, which is always a bit of an adventure because of the AAA ballpark. We do have Booney from Locked On A's, and boy, he's wearing a doozy of an outfit tonight. You got to see this if you're on YouTube.
8 down the drain, 19-20. The tank's not full, but the pain, yeah, there's plenty. This is Booney from Locked On A's asking, when does spring training start? April teased hope. May said just kidding. Now June's just shots while the record is slipping. This team don't hit. This team don't pitch. The bullpen's door got a haunted twitch. Sacramento's no fortress. Home's a mirage. It's like watching pain in a retro collage. So pour me a whiskey, neat with despair. I'll drink it till spring with 1,000-yard stare. Hope is a drug. I mainline the high. I'll forget all the L's when the cactus is dry. Today I'm a wreck, but forever an A's fan. Forever a dreamer.
So poetic from Booney.
He's feeling some type of way.
I don't know what the hell he's talking about, but it rhymed, and his team lost again. So Twins take this one by a score of 10-3. Astros at the Pirates. Astros rolling to Pittsburgh, trying to get back to the top of the AL West, while the Pirates send their ace Paul Skeens to the mound again. Here's Brett from Locked On Astros with a little Houdini act to tell us how this one went down in the Steel City.
What is this on my head? Yeah, you thought just because Paul Skeens was a Pirate, I was going to turn into a Pirates fan? Wrong. I'm H-Town Wheelhouse here with Locked On Astros, and the Astros beat the Pirates 3-0. They did just enough with a couple of long balls. That's right. The Astros took the ball out of the park. They kept O'Neal Cruz and company in the park, and they knocked Paul Skeens out of the game. The bullpen ultimately gave up the other 2 runs. So the Astros win game 1. They have 2 winnable games these next 2 games against pitchers that have really high ERAs and haven't had a lot of success. So make sure you stay tuned in to Locked On Astros, where we will not be wearing Pirates hats. We will not be cheering for any other team except the Houston Astros. We are your team every day. Go Stros.
All right. Diamondbacks at the Braves. D-backs have been in a bit of a rut recently, while the Braves are getting healthier, but have yet to see the turnaround that most people thought was going to happen with Ronald Acuna Jr. and Spencer Strider coming back. Strider on the hill in this one. He struggles again. He allows a run in the first, 1 in the second, 2 in the third, 1 in the fifth. Goes just 5 innings, gives up 5 runs on 6 hits, 3 home runs, 2 of them from Ketel Marte, 1 from Corbin Carroll. Arizona wins this one by a score of 8-3. They get a nice bounce back performance from Zach Gallen, who has also struggled this year. Marte and Corbin Carroll both hit 2 home runs in this one. So Strider continues to struggle, returning from that torn UCL. Probably a little bit worried after seeing the drop in miles per hour on that fastball.
Yeah, I got to give him some time. It's going to take a year, to be honest with you. It's good that he's back out there, but he's not going to be Strider until next season, in my opinion.
All right. Rangers at the Rays after winning 2 of 3 over the weekend in convincing fashion. The Rangers hit the road to battle Junior Caminero and the Rays. Very interesting game for Junior Caminero, wasn't it, John?
Yeah, not only did he steal home on a double steal, but he also homered to lead the Rays to a 5-1 victory over the Rangers. His team leading 14th home run, making him the first player in the majors to homer and steal home in the same game since Jarren Duran did it against the Rays on May 21st, 2024. Last Ray to do it was Randy Arozarena in Game 1 of the 2021 American League Division Series. Every time Caminero comes up, I'm so mad that we didn't trade Ohtani to the Rays to bring Caminero to the Angels.
Yeah, he got off to a little bit of a slow start, but you're starting to see the potential and the star power that Caminero actually has as the Rays end up winning this one by a score of 5-1. The Kansas City Royals at my St. Louis Cardinals. Royals take this one by a score of 10-7. It was a roller coaster of a game because the Cardinals fell behind 2-0, and then they went up 7-2, and then the Royals came storming back. They scored 6 runs in 1 inning, and just like that, it was like, boom, all of a sudden the Cardinals are looking up. It's 8-7. Royals go on to win this one by a score of 10-7. It was very big of a letdown for the Cardinals.
Where'd they get that offense from? What the heck? Where did Kansas City come from all of a sudden?
I don't know, but the Cardinals pitching staff has got some troubles because in the last 4 games, they've given up 29 runs, and that also includes the 2-0 shutout they just had on Saturday. So basically 29 runs in 3 games. That's almost 10 runs per game. So trouble right there when it comes to the pitching staff for the Cardinals right now. And finally, we wrap up with the Orioles at the Mariners. The Mariners and Astros battling for first place in the AL West right now. Each team hoping to beat up on the struggling teams they're facing. In this case, the Mariners versus the Orioles. What went down in this one, John?
Yeah, Mariners send George Kirby to the mound in just his 3rd start since coming off the IL. Entering Monday, he had an 11.42 ERA after just 2 awful starts against the Astros and the Nationals, and the bad news kept coming. He pitched really well in this one, 5 innings pitched, 2 earned runs, but he took a 102 comebacker off the face. He was able to block it with his glove a little bit, but man, it left him bleeding from the mouth, and so he had to come out of the game. He was at 95 pitches. He probably would have come out anyway, but then the Orioles got to the Mariners bullpen. Mariners only managed 1 run on a Rowdy Tellez homer. Orioles piled on across the 6th inning and the 9th inning. So this one ended up 5-1 Orioles. Now the Astros sit a half game in first above the Mariners to end this Tuesday night.
Yeah, Astros have been on the heater. So there you go. We have made it through the entire MLB game night. Thank you guys for joining us for this episode. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. We hope you'll come back and visit us next time on MLB Game Night. Every game, every night.